Hey everybody, this is JDGaming back today with a deck profile of my Floater Extra Special version 2. The first version of this was actually the origin of Brilliant Magical Reptiles, that strategy I showed you that basically is a huge rank 4 toolbox and essentially does only that. In previous formats, I actually used to play Madolche Magellane as a repeatable normal summon that would let me go and make an XYZ summon or Synchro summon every single turn, and back then we had access to emergency teleport for Earth Psychic monsters so we can summon our Naturia Beast. Since teleport got limited, however, I ended up shifting over to the BMR strategy that focused more on rank 4s, but I still wanted to make something that could unleash Naturia Beast this easily, and I think I came up with something that's able to do that. So that's what we're going to do today, just as a bunch of floater monsters, is able to go for its rank 4s to control the game and gain free pluses, and then of course has access to Naturia Beast because he's still a fun card that I love using as well. So we are going to do a step-by-step build of this deck, just so you can see the process of how I deck build. But if you don't want to see that, you can go ahead and click the annotation on King of the Feral Imps, and he will take you over to the end of the profile video where we just do the alphabetical list. So without further ado, let's get started. So first off, this is one of those strategies where you really establish the theme by putting together some random monsters that happen to synergize very nicely. And the first one we're going to discuss is Heroic Challenger Assault Halberd. So this is something that you may be familiar with. Maybe, I know people who've seen my previous version of this deck will recall this. But it's a level 4 guy, 1800 attack, which is very solid. It's a warrior, so back when Roto was at 3, this thing was insane. But he basically says, if your opponent has a monster and you don't, you Cyber Dragon this guy to the board. So going second, this thing's phenomenal, helps you go for your plays very easily. And at any time, if this does damage to your opponent, you get to search another heroic card from your deck to your hand. So that means you can go attack, fetch another copy of this, and then if you special the first one, normal the second one, make an XYZ in that same turn. But the coolest thing about this guy is that he has piercing damage, so he's able to do damage even through your opponent's defensive monsters, and that makes him a very consistent searcher. And there's some other tech cards that are now in the card pool that didn't exist before when this deck was first made that this guy can take huge advantage of. And one of those, believe it or not, is Traptrix Murmilio. This is our primary floater for turn 1. You normal her, you're able to go and fetch a trap hole, and if you happen to special summon her, you're able to go and get rid of back row as well. So that's a pretty cool deal right there. We are of course playing the bottomless trap hole with her just to, swallow up a bunch of pendulum monsters or whatever. But we are also playing not 1 but 2 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole. So this is the new one from Dark Illusion. And what it does is it lets you flip everything your opponent summons at once face down defense position, and they cannot change from that position manually. And what that means is you're able to go and address big summons, you're able to go and prevent your opponent from XYZ summoning or Synchro summoning, and the coolest thing yet is you trap him in defense, so you can go and start piercing through the Assault Halberd, which means now all of a sudden you can guarantee you get that search off. So very nasty combo. Not only is Floodgate great on its own, but it's even better in this deck because we have the synergy with the Assault Halberd. So that's one of the reasons why I'm really excited to bring this strategy back from the dead. And then on top of that, we are running the 2 Perform H Trick Clown. This is something that I learned from that Brilliant Magical Reptiles deck. We are playing the 2 Gemini Garnet and the 3 Brilliant Fusion with it, basically because I like using Trick Clown instead of Madolche Magellane, because this thing is pretty much an inexhaustible source of rank 4s or just synchro fodder, 4 stars for that, and you don't even have to use your normal summon if you go with Brilliant Fusion. So very powerful card. It's definitely worth loading up because once you see him, he's pretty much going to stick around most of the game, if not the entire game. And then Garnet usually is bad, but in this deck we're going to again try to summon Naturia Beast, and so his Earth attribute actually comes in quite handy. So now that we have our core, it's time to expand just a little bit and make it run even more effectively. We are running the 1 copy of Roto we are allowed because this lets us go and fetch our Assault Halberd, and that essentially makes it so we're playing a 4th copy of it so we can go ahead and get its self-searching engine going. To make Roto worthwhile, I am running triple Goblinberg. This is a cool card because it's an Earth monster. It's searchable off of Rota, and it lets you go and special summon one of your monsters. And the cool thing with this is it lets you go for an easy rank 4, of course. You guys are familiar with that. But the fact that you can go and special summon Murmilio to trigger her effect, or trigger a bunch of other effects with this card, makes it a huge standout. This essentially makes it so you don't have to run back row removal in the main. You can allocate those slots to the side because you can just go and Goblinberg your Murmilio whenever you want. On top of that, I'm running a single junk changer, so this is a fun level 3 Earth Tuner monster. He's also a warrior, so you can fetch him with Rhoda. You're essentially playing 2 copies. 1500 attack, 900 defense, so he's like okay in stats. The whole point of him is when he's summoned, it can be normal or special summoned, you can change a junk monster on the field's level by +1 or -1, so he becomes a level 2, 3, or 4 tuner. So you can just normal him or special him with this and make him into a 4, just go for an XYZ. You could synchro for 8, you could synchro for 7, you can go down and synchro for 6 if you wanted. Very versatile card. I figured, well, why not play it? And so far, I've really liked it at 1 just because you're never drawing it when you can't make use of it. Goblinberg lets you use it. Double normal summon off of the Seraphonite engine from the Brilliant Fusion lets you use it. So overall, Junk Changer's a pretty cool card. Gives you more options. I think it's worth giving him a shot at least. On top of that, now we are playing the King of the Feral Imps. You guys know, anytime I make a rank 4 deck, I love King of the Feral Imps. It's a free +1 and lets you go and get cards that smooth out the rest of the cards in your hand. Like, for instance, getting Kage Tokage will let you go and make another level 4 normal summon to then just follow up with an XYZ play. So very powerful +1 here. And then on top of that, we are running the 1 GB. This is, again, something I learned from the Brilliant Magical Reptiles. You do want to be able to special this guy or normal him sometimes. Kageto has those restrictions, and unfortunately that makes it a little annoying, and that's why I did choose to run the 1 GB. And no, I'm not going to go into like the totally awesome Bahamut plays. I know I can do that, but I have a different deck that does that. This is really just so that I have another target off of King that I can normal summon. But that's not the only thing I can summon off King. Another cool thing I'm teching here is 1 X-Saber Palamuro. This guy got a little bit of hype a few months ago, and pretty much the whole point of him is a level 1 Earth Tuner, but he's a reptile that you can search off King of the Feral Imps. So if you open Brilliant Fusion, you can usually get this guy out very easily. Fetch the Palamuro, and if you're able to like go for a level 4 Earth monster with this guy, maybe you have like a Goblinberg as your second normal summon off of the Seraphonite, and you follow up with Palamuro, that's a free Naturia Beast turn 1, which is a very powerful option indeed. And then just the fact that it's searchable means you can just use him as discard fodder, because you can just dig him out when you need. You can use him as a tuner whenever you want. So overall, a lot of extra access to Naturia Beast that we lost when we lost Teleport to just 1 copy. And of course, you know, that's why he's here. Another thing we want to use with him is Glow Up Bulb, Foolish Burial, and 1 for 1. The whole purpose of this is the synergy that ties in with the rest of the deck. So Bulb is obviously a great way to summon Beast, but you can bring this back at any time in the game if you are able to go and summon a rank 4 anyway. And then instead of going 4/4 for a rank 4, add a Glow Up Bulb, it becomes a Trishula. So that's a very powerful play right there. And then on top of that, you can Foolish Burial the Glow Up Bulb at any time it's live, or you can just hit a Trick Clown if you still didn't draw Brilliant Fusion. You can load Myrmilio in the grave. We're going to get to a Dianea later, so like there's that play. And then 1 for 1 is really only viable if you have at least, you know, the 2 level 1s, and that's why I ended up playing both of these guys. 1 for 1 then lets you go for a first turn Beast much more consistently, because so many of your guys are Earth. If you draw this or this with it, you pretty much get a free Beast. So that's the whole point of this mini engine here. And now it's time to finish up the main deck, so we're actually going to begin with a fun little tech choice of mine. We're running 2 copies of Spiral Super Agent. This is a phenomenal card. A lot of people haven't even checked this out, but it's a level 4 1900 attack warrior, so he's also searchable by Rhoda. He's Earth, so you can use him for Beast and stuff, and his ability actually helps with that. If this is in your hand, you can just declare a card type, Monster, Spell, or Trap. Usually you're not going to choose Trap, because most people don't play Traps, but you reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and if you guessed correctly, then you get to special this guy from your hand. And once per turn, if this thing is summoned by a spiral card, so like its own effect, you get to pop a spell or trap your opponent controls. So that means for no reason you just guess monster. Probably summon him half of the time, pop one of your opponent's cards, and then you can follow up with a normal summon of Bulb or Palamuro. That's a Beast. You can normal summon any of your 4s, and that's a rank 4. Very powerful card overall, and it's just something a lot of people don't see coming. And if you consider these 2 with the Myrmilios that we're able to trigger for the popping back row, you now have 5 different ways you can kill back row, so you don't need to main Twin Twisters, you don't need MSTs. You have more free slots in your extra deck, or if your main deck rather. You don't have to use up you can use your side cards instead for that. So that's why he's in here, just helps you get extra special summons. We're playing the 1 Dianea. This thing, of course, lets you bring back Traptrix Myrmilio, trigger her destruction effect, and get a free XYZ monster in the process. And if you have Glow Up Bulb loaded, again, that's a free Trishula too. So like 1 card play, Always love it. Only reason I only play one Dianea is because I hate drawing this thing when the Myrmilio is not loaded yet. And because we no longer have Lavalval Chain, I don't feel comfortable, especially now with the speed of the game, hoping to, oh, I drew a Dianea, maybe I can survive until this thing becomes live. No, just play the one, and then you're going to be able to draw into this as needed more often than not. So like when you draw it, it'll be live, is the whole point of this card. For defensive options, we're running one Book of Moon, mainly because this thing lets us just get rid of anything, of course, but it synergizes with that Assault Halberd. Flip something face down, pierce through it, you do some damage, you fetch another free card. So it ends up not being a minus because you clear your opponent's monster and search your own free card in the process. So very fun card there. We're running the full Solemn Brigade here because, as I mentioned in my brilliant Magical Reptiles profile, these cards are extremely oppressive, and when you're able to back up a very powerful rank 4 defensive monster with this, it can quite often just buy you an entire turn and potentially seal the game right then and there. So definitely powerful traps that you should run maximally. And then to help you make your plays, just a couple other pieces of tech. 2 Instant Fusion and a Soul Charge. This is, of course, for Norden. Gets you your free rank 4, gets you free materials for Trishula. Overall, like, as long as Norden's in this game, there's no reason not to play this in pretty much every Synchro and XYZ deck that you're making for rank 4s anyways. Like, there's that. And then Soul Charge, because we're playing some tuner monsters too, it lets you open up for like dumb Trishula plays, so that's why this thing's in here. And then going for a couple XYZ monsters isn't bad when you're able to go like Rafflesia along with some other crazy monster like S39, the Lightning. And the last slot in the main is our Raigeki, just because sometimes you want to get rid of your opponent's board so you can push for game. And then, I don't know, it's versatile enough. It works okay in like the casual meta I play at home. That's really just like a free slot if you want to try teching something else. And to finish up our extra deck, the things I just mentioned but didn't show earlier are the Norden and Seraphinite, but that's pretty obvious what you do with those. I've already explained pretty much the function of those. For Synchros, in addition to the Naturia Beast and Trishula, we're playing a Librarian, mainly because sometimes you have like Trick Clown and you don't have an Earth monster, so you just go for this. If you have Glow Up Bulb, it's very easy to make a second Synchro, so you could just go for Librarian first and then go Naturia Beast, draw a free card in the process while locking out your opponent. It's a very solid level 5 generic monster. Coral Dragon is here because Junk Changer, remember, can become a level 2 tuner, so if you have any of your level 4s with a 2, gets you Coral Dragon, free removal, draw a card. Phenomenal card overall. I'm actually not playing any 7s just because I found that 7s just weren't very good in this deck versus the 6s and 8s. So I decided to just play the Omega instead. Mainly because this thing is like a great standalone card. You can recycle things with it. So overall, just my solid 1 of level 8 Synchro Monster for completeness sake. For the other rank 4s, this is pretty much the same toolbox you're used to. It's Abyss Dweller to stop the graveyard. This to get rid of things that are already on board. This actually is very useful in this deck because you want to bring back the Emerald, or not the Emerald, excuse me, the Garnet as an Earth target for beasts sometimes. So there's that additional application with Emerald. Rafflesia you're probably familiar with. I love using this thing in everything that I can, and it's amazing how you can use Floodgate with this and then just pierce through with the Halberd, so that's that. Giant Hands in this deck, mainly because I wanted to stop Monarchs in my metagame, but again, this is like, depending on what you want to do with your rank 4 slot, you can change this one out. And then, doesn't need too much explanation, it's just the big guy who deals with everything. You must be playing this guy as well. If you watched the video in its entirety, thanks! Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this profile as much as I did putting the deck together. Without further ado, let's jump into the profile. So first we have 1 Glow Up Bulb, 3 copies of Goblinberg, triple Heroic Challenger Assault Halberd, 1 Gigabyte, 1 Junk Changer, double Kage Takage, double Perform Age Trick Clown, 2 Tect Spiral Super Agents, a Traptrix Dianea, triple Traptrix Myrmilio, X-Saber Palamuro, double Gemknight Garnet, Book of Moon, triple Brilliant Fusion, Foolish Burial, double Instant Fusion, 1-for-1 Raigeki, Rhoda, Soul Charge, and then for traps, 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, double Floodgate Trap Hole, triple Solemn Strike, and 1 Solemn Warning for a 40-card main deck. Then for our extra, we have 1 Naturia Beast and Hyper Librarian at level 5, Coral Dragon at 6, Omega at 8, and then Trishula at 9. For XYZ monsters, we have Abyss Dweller, Castel, Daigusto Emerald, King of the Feral Imps, number 106 Giant Hand, Traptrix Rafflesia, 39 and Shining the Lightning, And then for fusions, we have Norden off Instant Fusion and Seraphonite off of Brilliant Fusion. So that's the profile. In the comments below, let me know what you think of the deck, and if you decide to try it out, then let me know how it goes. If you liked the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up so we can spread it to as many other people who may enjoy it as well. And if you really enjoyed what you see today, then I invite you guys to subscribe to JD Gaming for more regular Yu-Gi-Oh updates. Thanks guys, this is JD Gaming, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.